Left Wing Kingz. Listen, think, act, repeat. Welcome to the Left Wing Kingz live podcast. Today we're going to be talking about mental health. We're going to be talking a little bit about music's influence on our youth and the dreaded N-word. I want to thank everybody out there who is on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and Google for checking out our podcast. And I also want to thank everybody who's checking us out live right now on Facebook and on YouTube. Please feel free to leave a comment during this live stream, and I will go ahead and put that comment on the screen, and we'll talk to you or talk about it or just share it for other people to see. I am your head moderator in charge, Malik, your HMIC, and I'm joined today by my queen, Walanda.
What up?
My main man, Ace.
What up? What up?
And our special guest, Mr. Dewan Cole. Thank you for joining us, sir. Thank you for joining us today.
No problem.
Strong J.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you decided to come on the show.
Well, as you said, my name is Dewan. I'm just me. You know, the whole reason why I wanted to come on the show is because those things hold dear to me, especially mental health. So it's a stepping out for me to talk about it. I usually don't talk about it, but here I am.
All right, man. Well, hey, we appreciate you coming out and sharing with us. And with that being said, let's jump into the loveliness of the convo.
Let's go.
All right. So mental health is a critical part of overall health, but it's been overlooked, especially in the Black community, right? And there are several mental health challenges that are facing Black people each and every day. Now, Dewan, I know this topic is critically important to you. So please share with us why you wanted to discuss it and tell us a little bit about.
Well, I was diagnosed with depression back in 2005. And I never knew exactly what was going on with me, you know, until I got diagnosed. And I noticed, you know, a lot of other people outside of myself deal with the same thing, but they don't like to speak about it. Mm-hmm. You know, especially as a Black man, you get looked down upon if, you know, saying you're expressing your feelings or anything like that, though. Or if you show any kind of emotion that's not manly.
Exactly.
You know. So yeah, I mean, and then a lot of us just hold it in. And then until it's too late.
No doubt.
And you know, then you got suicide, you got, you know, people who go out and do things where it's not rational, but it happens because they didn't have an ear or they didn't use their voice. So that's one.
That's something that I've been able to like kind of just talk to people, even if it's just like online. You know, people think about like, hey, you go on Facebook, you make a comment, yada yada yada. But I mean, I've gone on there from time to time and say things just like you said. You know, man, there's always options.
Yeah,
there's an ear. I'm here for you if you need to talk, need to, you know, just chop it up, have a drink, whatever. For anybody out there who's listening, that's a friend of mine, you know, regardless of what you're going through, there's always somebody you can talk to your point, Duane.
Right.
You know, it's a serious thing, man, and I'm glad you're on the show and bringing awareness to it. I think Black people, man, too long have been putting Uncle Willie in the back room. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's they solve to mental health, and they don't want to advocate or look into it. And you know, and we're talking about Black men, but that even goes with Black women. You know what I'm saying? We just, as a people, haven't addressed that thoroughly and been honest with ourselves on what we need to do with that. So it's awesome that you're here to talk about that. And we can bring awareness to that. Yeah, and like Malik said, if there's anybody out there that's having an issue, man, find help. Mm-hmm. You know, seek help. You know, and do the things that you need to, because you know, it's like anything else. You know, it's a disease or an illness that we have to treat. And if treated right, you can be a functional person, you know.
Correct.
And a lot of people aren't aware of that. So
yeah. Looking at going perspective, because this made me sad when I was researching all of this information. So according to the American Psychological Association, first of all, when you deal with depression and anxiety and all that stuff, there actually is a provider bias as well. And you got to look at it as a Black male, who do you feel comfortable talking with? Learning that about 83.6% of your psychologists are white. And that means only 14.6% are Asian, Black. We're all lumped together, Asian, Black, Latinos. And we know what that sometimes comes from cultural bias. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? And how comfortable do you feel like talking to somebody? And a lot of that stigma comes from, again, misinformation,
Mhm.
okay, ignorance of the fact that mental health means something's clearly wrong. Like we all go through bouts of depression and times and anxiety. Some of us have a more of a support system to deal with it than others. And I think that plays a big part. You just got to make sure you're surrounding yourself around the right people. Also, with their different type of stigmas, there's one's called a personal stigma. And I think that's the problem is we have societal norms, right? And so then we internalize the fact that, society sees that as a bad thing. Society sees as that's not the norm, but it is the norm. We all have problems. We all go through situations. We have to deal with death. Personal experiences, right?
Mhm.
And we just don't know how to address and to come to that. So definitely reach out. There's a lot of resources there, and hopefully, as a community, we can get more Black people going into the mental health route too. So we have somebody actually to speak with in regards to that. A lot of
Somebody,
right, you know what I mean?
somebody we can relate to.
Right, and someone who can
Yeah.
relate to us and our own
Yeah.
personal experiences.
We have to be a little bit more trusting of our the medical community too. I think
Mhm.
there's a lot of doubt around like
Mhm.
medicine and scared. People don't want to go to the hospital.
Mhm.
They're afraid to go to the hospital altogether.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know you wanted to touch on something. I just want to make one quick point, man. Is like when you talk about like the comfort level of who you're talking to, a lot of people, Black people in our Black community, we're very close and comfortable talking to our pastors and people like that. And they turn to those people rather than turning to their doctors because of maybe they don't have a Black doctor, or they're afraid to go to the doctor or go to the hospital or things like that. So they end up getting the wrong type of help, because a pastor can help you, right? They could talk to
Mhm.
you. Don't get it twisted, but they're not specialized in
Right.
like depression and mental health and things like that.
Well, no, well, back. I mean, what she was saying about people who don't want to go to the hospital and things like that. Like, and I was scared of the medication. That's why that was offered
Yep.
to me, because all of the other
Side effects.
side effects. You know, what I'm saying setback. I mean, you could get addicted to the stuff.
Mhm.
You know, and that was one thing that I didn't want to get. You know, what I'm saying addicted to is. I mean, just to. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's a side to both sides of it.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, I might
Oh, go ahead.
I might um get better or feel better with the depression, but also now do I have to live every day off of this drug?
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, so I mean, I think talking to somebody is better than, what I'm saying, any kind of medication that you
Mhm.
could really give a person, because like everything has a setback.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Everything has a setback. You
Well,
We
know?
got a comment real quick,
Mhm.
and then I'll let you go ahead and go, Queen. But Peter is on here. What's going on, Peter? Always glad to see you, bro. He said, I had a nervous breakdown in April 2002, so not dissimilar timing. It took me years to get over it, and I'm probably still not 100% now. So I
That's over
mean,
20 years.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is
Wow.
like Peter. He's in the UK, so I mean, I had an anxiety attack too, like
Mhm.
back in the day, and I got over it. But I mean, it ain't nothing
Scary.
like it. It's
No.
scary, man.
Mhm.
No, it
Scary shit.
is. It is.
Yeah. And I think his was a little bit more medical too, stimulating from that. But I had anxiety. When I lost my dad, I never lost anybody um, close to me. So that was like my first experience. So then I started having, issues.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, oh my God, I'm having a heart attack or what's happening. And you don't know what to do with that. They have to go to the emergency room, kept going to the doctor. And then I did have a good doctor told me, he's like, you have anxiety. So I went and researched, like, what does that mean? I've never been an anxious person.
Yeah.
I'm good with myself. I got high self-esteem. I love my family. My family loves me. So why am I going through this? So I think a lot of times you have to dig within yourself and figure out what is triggering.
Right.
And until you find your trigger, you can't deal with it because you don't know what's wrong. You're like, I thought it was okay. I'm dealing with this death. I'm talking about it, but I wasn't talking about it enough. I wasn't dealing with
Right.
it. As soon as I figured out what my trigger was and I dealt with it and started talking and, just reaching out to people who had that kind of similar situation, then you can deal. So I agree with you. I don't think anxiety necessarily you might need medication. There are some people who do,
Yeah.
like every day, like they can't get up in the morning and do what they need to do.
Right.
But I do think speaking about it and talking with people and having people not judge, because I think as a community, we can be judgmental as
Mhm. Most
people.
definitely.
Right.
Yes.
So I think people just need to be more open to, to their own personal experiences and being able to talk to other people and let them find comfort in that.
Right.
Yeah, I think when you come on that judgmental part, yeah, it's a lot of people out there, well, that are not sympathetic or anything like that because they don't think it can happen to them, Hey,
Right.
man, happened to me. And so they're not understanding. So you definitely got to get more understanding when it comes to it, kind of going back to when we were talking about like the mistrust of medical professionals or whatever. Just think as Black people, we're so scared of being misdiagnosed.
Mhm.
And that's like a lot of brothers like in the prison system, or they get in trouble with the law, then they get diagnosed as having medical issues. Now some of them have medical issues, and it's true, but sometimes I think they say they maybe get overdiagnosed, and kind of what Dewan was saying, now they're getting put on medication. That medication becomes addictive, and it's not solving the problem, it's actually
Causing another problem.
So
Yeah.
I
It's
think that's
hard.
where that mistrust comes in.
That's true, man. I feel you 100%, but it's also hard you can't solve something. All medical conditions aren't like you can't solve. You can't prevent them. Some things you just have to manage.
Right.
And sometimes the medication is the way to manage it, right? And people need to understand that. Sometimes it doesn't make you feel good. Sometimes, you feel funny or weird, especially like with depression. I've heard stories where people takes a long time to get their medication balanced correctly. And they have some imbalance, and they have horrible side effects and things that they hate. And then finally, one day, they get that mix right. The doctor finally gets it right. But that's like anything like that you're trying to fix, right? A car or whatever. Like you need to tweak your carburetor until you get it correctly or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a mechanic, but I figure like each individual is different. And if they just had a certain mix they could give everybody, then they would. But everybody's not the same.
Right.
So it takes time.
Right. I mean, and touching back about people, I remember, I will just tell the story. Like I remember after my little brother passed away, and I was going through it. My aunt and my brother passed away. I was going through it. And my coworker, I explained to him like I had depression. He said, "Man, that's not real. That's just a mental thing, blah, blah, blah." Like and he went through the whole scenario with me. And then he lost both his parents. And he called me. He's like, "I want to apologize because that depression is real." Like he's like, "I feel it like now." And at first he was judgmental of it, but then once he felt it,
he didn't go through it.
So that's that thing, like
exactly.
you said, people don't understand it to your point because they've never experienced it. But we as a people don't have to experience something to understand it and be empathetic. Right. That's the problem to me. Like, why are we putting Uncle Willie in the back room?
Yeah.
Right. Instead of putting Uncle Willie in the back room, we need to be taking Uncle Willie out
and ask him.
Yeah.
What's going
talk
on?
to Uncle Willie.
Yeah.
Take him to the places he wants to go. Let him experience life. You know what I'm saying? Make things better for Uncle Willie so that he's not always in a state of depression or a state of like whatever you want to call it, like that makes him sick, his illness that he's having, right? And I think we don't have that empathy for some reason. Like, why don't we have that empathy? Why is it like he shouldn't have had to experience it himself to say, "Man, you know what? I'm sorry that you're going through that."
Right.
Instead, this brother go right to like blame.
Yeah.
Like, nigga, get over that shit.
Right.
That's what we do to each other. That's the problem.
Exactly.
In the Black community.
Exactly.
Well, I don't think that's a Black community thing. I think it's a human situation. It's kind of like discrimination, right? Systemic racism that we as Black communities scream about all the time. And you got some people who don't look like us, like, oh, it's a fallacy. It's in your mind. You're not having to work harder. It's what you think. You ain't working hard enough, So I think as a human issue, that's what happens. A lot of people just automatically make an assumption that it's not real because they don't have that experience.
But
so,
see,
no empathy.
It's like, to me, I feel you 100%. It's a human thing, but it seems like we're always on the receiving end.
Yeah.
Like whether it's
Well,
a black person doing it to a black person, a white person doing it to a black person, we always on the receiving end of that shit. Like,
We are.
why are we always the ones who like are getting no empathy? Like people out there who, and I'm switching gears a little bit, but there are people out there, to your point, who don't even believe that racism exists.
Right.
No empathy. You can have empathy for something that you're not experiencing.
Right.
It's okay. Same thing with depression.
Yeah. Most definitely.
So, I mean, I know, Walanda, you had a list of like some things that people can do to help overcome like the stigmas, because I think it's important that we kind of touch on like, hey, there's some stigmas out there. What can we do to help eliminate those?
Well, first, what we just talked about, empathy, show compassion. Just because you don't have the experience or the plight that you don't understand, it doesn't mean it's not happening to somebody. So first, just being compassionate out there and listen, be attentive to that individual. Have a conversation about it. Share your own personal experiences. Not everybody's experienced death, and that's good if you haven't at our age.
Man,
because
that's
when
crazy
you
if
do,
you haven't.
when you do it, I don't know. I've never been the same after that. I think I live through it every day, and just understand that until you have that experience, like I said, I don't wish it upon anybody else. I think you really, really, truly can reach out to that individual. But just because you haven't had that experience doesn't mean that you can't show some type of empathy. The other one, do not be judgmental. Your language matters. What you are saying, like Dewan's individual, his coworker, like you don't ever tell somebody that you shouldn't feel this way or get over it, or be a big girl, put your big girl panties on, but you know what I'm saying, use a man, what you crying about. We don't do that because you don't understand the trauma that person is experiencing. And again, this is on NAMI, NAMI. It's how to overcome stigma in the African American community. So you can reach out and go to .org if you're interested in hearing some more information. The other one, also start advocating. So what we're doing right now is having the conversation. Nobody's in here judging Dewan, or me, myself as well, or are you, Malik, too? And having your experiences, you got to be an advocate. You got to let people know that you can go out there and talk to somebody. I would be very careful on who you are sharing the information with a mental health provider. Make sure it's somebody that you do trust, because unfortunately, human beings, we have biases. It's real. Now, if that person understands that they may have a bias and may not understand every situation that you've been through, basically, if it's cultural or, gender based or whatever the case may be, just make sure that you can trust that person, and just know, like, the mental health community, the practitioners, they're increasing because they recognize that it is a problem. Your experiences are leading that way. So definitely check out the resources.
Definitely.
Good stuff.
So, I mean, Dewan, I want to thank you, man, for just being open and honest with us and sharing your experience. And if anybody out there is, going through any type of, mental health issues, depression, anxiety, there's all types of things out there. There's always help, man. You're never alone. This is a world full of people who are willing to help you, whether it's somebody you know or somebody you don't know. One good resource is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. That's SAMHSA.gov. If you need help, you want somebody to talk to, you need resources, go there. Okay. SAMHSA.gov. All right. So, with that being said, we're going to switch gears into a little something that drove a lot of people crazy back in the 80s, rap music. When it first came out, a lot of people were all up in arms about it. And it's because of the language and how rap, kind of touches different people in different kinds of ways based on who they are and what's being said. So rap music, one of the most popular genres of music out there, and it has a significant impact, especially on the youth. So it also impacts like fashion, the slang we use, all types of good stuff, man. I mean, it's a beautiful thing since rap came out. Everybody, I think it brings people together from many different aspects of the world. But unfortunately, some people blame the negative values in the Black community on the influence that rap music has on the youth. So, is rap imitating life, or is life imitating rap? Dewan, what's your thought, man?
I think, it changed. Of course, it changed and it adapted. I mean, I would say in the 80s and the 90s, rap music imitated life, but as it got into the 2000s and the youth now that because you got to think about it, like we grew up into it. I mean, well, it grew with us.
Yeah.
A lot of these kids are born into it, where they didn't see the change we seen, and now they just try to live that life as what they hear. But like we were saying, though, I mean, now life imitates rap, and that's the stage they're in right now. And I mean, who's to blame though? You know what I mean? Because you don't have those rappers like you had back in the days, like KRS One, like
conscious rap.
Conscious rap. You don't have that.
Poor Righteous Teachers.
Common.
Common, Public Enemy.
Yeah.
You don't have that no more. You like, so where it was more diverse back in the days than it is now. Now you just have this one track mind of music, and that's what the youth is listening to now, though. Where we had different, hell, we had MC Hammer. Do we have an MC Hammer right now?
Not that I know of.
Not that I know of either, though. Like, I mean, like we had it was so diverse. You had the conscious, you had the dancing, and then you had the hardcore, the underground, and everything else. We don't have that anymore, though. Like, and so, like, all these kids nowadays, all they hear, I mean, hell, what Drake?
Yeah, I mean, let me get on the other side of the spectrum. I think they got people. I think J. Cole's pretty positive.
I like J.
Kendrick
Cole.
Lamar's
got
some good
That's
stuff.
The two.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's pop, man. That's not
exactly.
But
he's not really like J. Cole and Kendrick.
Conscious.
It's not conscious like the KRS ones we had.
He might have a line in there that's
I mean,
conscious line.
and you're talking about like we had people that were strictly teaching Black history.
Yeah,
I
mean,
and I
think Glorious.
Yeah, and all of that stuff. So back then. I mean, and I understand what you're saying about, it's imitating a little bit more, but I think that what we had and what they have, they still got, it's just in a different form. Like, we might not want to do it, but Lil Nas X is probably the closest thing they got to Hammer right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a pop, hip hop artist, just like Hammer was with us at the time. Now, Hammer now looks way better than he did back then, because back then,
right,
we were on Hammer because we thought he was too pop.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
now,
that's true.
What these kids is doing now ain't got nothing to do with like kind of what Hammer is. As a matter of fact, a lot of the people, they kind of took Hammer's formula, and that's what they went with. They got away from just, I'm gonna be hardcore and I'm gonna be talking about the streets. And now let me figure out a way I'm gonna turn $1. That's basically, Hammer was kind of the first guy to do that with the music. It's like, I'm just gonna try to make money off of it. And I ain't got to be the best rapper out here. And I ain't got to be.
That's true.
I'm just gonna put an entertainment package. Well, most MCs now that like that.
Nah.
But now, kind of what you're saying, you got some MCs out there, some people out there that grew up in the suburbs,
right?
And they talking about all the guns they pack and everything they doing. They're imitating what they hear in rap and thinking that's what they need to do, compared to where there was a time those dudes were just telling stories about how street life was. You know what I'm saying? And we got away from that. So,
man, I remember when my oldest was growing up, we ain't never been living in no ghetto. We never. We always had, like, I think we lived in apartments for a few years, and then we were living in houses. We on our third house. So our kids ain't know nothing but living in suburbia.
Yeah.
And we get a call from the school, like, this kid talk about he a Crip and he in a gang and this, that, and the other. I'm like, what? I'm like, you ain't even never been to a gang neighborhood or anything like that. Like, you ain't even got a car yet. So I know you ain't been nowhere except like in the neighborhood with your friends. So why are you thinking that you a Crip?
Right.
Why are you thinking you in a gang? Why now I know. I remember it kept wearing all the blue and always wanted blue everything. And I was like, why this fool always wanted? I thought the fool just like blue. Thought he was in a gang. I was like, man, where is this coming from? And I know it wasn't talking about us.
Yeah.
Now, it could have been coming from friends in school, but for the most part, to your point, it's like
music.
It's music.
They trying to
trying to live.
There.
It was like
live a life
imitating art.
I don't know even what they
nothing
talking
about that life.
Yeah, nothing about that life.
That's stuff right now. Like when I go to school, like when I was at high school, there's a lot, I'm a thug, I'm a this. I'm like, you live in suburbia.
Right.
I'm gonna drop
Right.
you off on the east side.
Yeah.
You over here, repping. I said, you don't want to do that and then really go against the gang. And they'd be
Right.
like, misrepresentation. I said, it's not a joke. And so these kids will make me laugh. I said, I'm gonna drop you off and let you see how life goes. Just to give you some stats though. So Black community is 12% of the US population. And so we're overrepresented in high risk populations. So we got 40% homeless, 50% prison population, and about 45% foster care. And the reason I share those stats with you, because if we are listening to music and we use music as cultural awareness, right? Self-identity, social connection, we got to be careful because that's what happens, imitation.
Yeah.
We got to look at our stats as a Black community and know that certain music, how is it influencing our youth? And we can't say that it's not, because it does. You want to hopefully that your home life, right? You are helping your, shape your kids, but kids, they listen to music more than they listen to their parents, and they're at school and they're not always with you 100% of the time. So just know cultural awareness, creativity, inspiration, behavior, attitudes, escapism. That was the biggest one that I thought about music. It's a way to escape.
That is
So
true.
my present life, what I'm saying, it's all good, but I can go ahead and act like, what I'm saying, be that Crip, be that blood in my whole,
Right. In your
my
own
little,
mind,
my own mind and my own fantasy.
Escape somewhere else.
So
Yeah.
escapism is
Read
a
a
real big
book.
thing, right?
I mean, but if the songs were more like about like, this is horrible. Like, I don't want to be in the ghetto. I don't want to like have a gun. I don't want to get shot at every night. They glorify it. Like,
Right.
to your point, escapism, like it's escaping to a fun world where
Stress-free.
I got my bitches in my hoes. Y'all don't know, and it's like, nah, you
Yeah, it's
ain't got no-
glorified, man.
What
You
was
ain't got nobody.
what was Jay-Z's line? He said, what was it? I have to fact check that when he was talking about I talk about it so you don't go through
so
it.
you don't go through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, and that's a perfect example. But man, you look at Chicago. Chicago's probably one of the worst cities, you know what I'm saying? And they come out with their drill music, they call it. But that's one city I would say that they live out their lyrics though, or they try to live out what the music is saying. And then that's one of the there in New York. Two of the worst cities though, I mean, that the youth get affected by the music. I think personally, because I mean, you have so many who are looking up to these guys, and a lot of these guys don't even really live their life. I mean, it's just they just rapping about it, and they're not really conscious of what it's doing to the next person.
And I think that the people who aren't conscious of that are the circumstances where it's art imitating life.
Right.
To your point, like in Chicago, these cats living that life.
Yeah.
It ain't like they made a song. I gotta go do what I said I was gonna do on my song. Nah, nigga, they did that shit. Then they said, let me put that in the song.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like art imitating life. That's what they doing.
Right.
And when they do that, that's when like other people outside of their scope, outside of their area, they don't realize this is real shit.
Right.
This ain't just a song. This like people outside of there, somebody in, I don't know, backwoods Kentucky somewhere might be listening to it thinking, oh, I'm gonna be a thug and I'm a thug.
Right.
Go to Chicago and try that. Like to your point, go on this side of town, on the other side of the tracks, try that. See what happens. Because some places it's art imitating life. And some places, like some of these dudes out here ain't never did that.
No.
Like you think Jay-Z. Jay-Z says all the time that he was in the game and he did this and did that and the other. So you would think that his first songs, which weren't really his first songs, were like kind of poppy kind of songs, right? But then after a while, when he came up with Reasonable Doubt and stuff like that, he started going more hard.
Yeah.
He was writing songs about stuff he had did or saw. Right. Half these cats, they write these songs, they ain't never even seen the shit they writing about.
No.
Yeah, there was a time, man, where these guys, because of their socioeconomical situation, that's the reason why they were doing it. Like,
to get out.
I want to improve myself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they were telling some of the stories because, Dre said it better, as long as I'm rocking this gangster shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, people gonna buy it, you know what I'm saying? So people were buying that, and once they got out, they made sure they took care of their families and everybody were good because of the socioeconomical background. And then became a source to where it was glorified and people were thinking this is the way life is, but it ain't got to be that way.
No.
You should be trying to improve yourself one way or the other. But I think earlier you were saying the suburb child, especially, in our situation, being black,
Yeah.
most of us, if we didn't come from the ghetto or the projects, we a generation away from it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Mhm.
And our parents
Definitely.
probably said, hey, I don't want to live here. So they moved us out in the
Mhm.
80s.
Mhm.
We said, hey, you know what? We grew up, halfway in the ghetto, halfway in the suburbs. You know what I'm saying?
We
Yeah.
went
But then
further
we
out.
moved out. We moved further out into the
Yeah.
suburbs or whatever,
Exactly.
and put our kids in better schools. We became that barrier. All right. So
Yep.
the music comes in and these kids come in and they listen to it, think they want to live that life, get influenced, have no idea what that life is. I told my
Nope.
kids when they was coming up, I'm the toughest dude you know.
No, right.
You know what I'm saying? And I always tell them this. I say, you were a mixed baby because your mama's black and I'm a nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, something like that.
But that's the closest you coming to that.
right.
So you're gonna be out there talking about popping guns and doing this and
No.
doing that, and you can't even handle my gun. You ain't even seen
Yeah.
my
Oh my
gun.
God.
Don't
Right,
even know what
exactly.
ammunition is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We got
But-
Steve.
Somebody might pull your card one day, so you better be, watch what you're saying and watch what you're doing.
Exactly.
out
Most
there.
definitely.
We got Steve on here. Steve says a lot of it also has to do with the record companies and marketing. I don't think the rebels would know how to market somebody who was like Public Enemy or X-Clan. So yeah, that's true. I mean, I think it's really easy to market like violence versus like education and uplifting yourself.
Right.
Like back in the day, that conscious rap from back in the day, I think the reason why it came is because, to your point, Steve, the marketing team, they didn't know what type of rap was going to take off or wouldn't take off. They were just like, we're just going to put it out there. Rap is
See what
hot right
happens.
now.
Yeah.
We're going to make this money. And what are you thinking about? Chickens? Put it out there. They didn't care.
It was
Whatever
a lot of
it
bad
was.
songs in the 80s.
There was a whole lot of bad songs that came out. And they was just pushing
Yeah.
product, just like a drug dealer, pushing that product out there because they didn't know how to market rap music or anything. They were new to it. It was new type of music, and they were just trying to see
Which one would catch?
experiment. Yeah, they
Which one would
experimented
catch,
to see
yeah.
what would catch. And then when NWA and them came out, now we know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you can even flip it if you talk about female rap, because we're talking about just the gangster side, but now the complaint kind of is, well, some of these female rappers are just
Too raunchy.
bringing that stripper life, like glorifying that stripper life. You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
just
Bro,
saying.
I mean,
I like Cardi B, but I'm like, woo.
nah,
okay,
the
I like
worst
Cardi.
one right now is Sexy. What's her name?
Sexy Red or whatever. Yeah,
Oh,
they
it's
going
hor-
hard.
yeah,
on her,
it's
man.
Once
Oh,
And I
again,
don't know.
God.
it's not even about talent. It's about marketing.
Right. What's selling?
What's going to
Yeah.
sell?
What's
What
selling?
what can I put out there? And I've seen like in a lot of like TikTok videos now, there's a lot of rappers who say that. They're like saying your talent don't even matter no more.
Yeah, but
Talent does not matter. It's what you bring to the table and how they can market you to the public.
And
That's what
influence.
matters.
Yeah.
now.
to
Because
piggyback
everybody can fucking
Instagram
rap.
followers and all of
to
that.
piggyback on the female rap. Once Little Kim came out, they found
Mhm.
the little what was
They-
catchy for them.
Yep.
Right.
And then that's the only females you look, if you listen to, like, because we came up off of Latifah, MC
Salt and
Lyte, Salt and
Pepper.
Pepper, and then once Little Kim came out,
Different.
it caught.
Yeah.
And then now all these female rappers.
But I would say even
Emulate.
Salt and
Emulate,
Pepper started the trend, but they were classy.
They were
they
classy.
were they were
Sexy
very
and
much
classy.
very much so.
Like
yes.
MC Lyte, Latifah, they was all like, hip hop, more like sweatsuits, and
Yeah.
Latifah was like the African garb, the educational stuff.
Right.
But then Salt and Pepper said, "Hey, we're gonna mix a little sexiness, and we're gonna cover our ass, but
Well,
we're gonna be
nowadays-
sexy." And
Yeah.
it just moved over to where Lil
Right.
Kim took it, and like you
Yeah.
said, it took off.
Well, it's
It took off.
extreme, and you
Yeah.
definitely see it. Because I mean, now I'm at middle school. I'm like, these girls dress. I'm like, what are you wearing? Mind you, when we went to high school, we dressed like dudes. My mom was like,
Yeah.
why are you wearing his pants? Like, why are your shorts? Not, I didn't
That was the
show
TLC
anything.
era.
Yeah,
The baggy
Yeah.
clothes.
you
baggy
know what I
clothes,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah, baggy
Yeah.
and stuff. And now it is influential because you got little kids wearing no business. You know what I
Right.
mean? I said,
Yeah.
well, don't get me wrong. When I'm out, but I'm grown.
Exactly.
You're 10.
Yeah.
You're 11.
Please.
You know what I mean? Like you
Right.
a baby.
And don't let no twerk song come on,
Man.
man.
Oh Lord, tell about that
Yeah.
dance.
Oh yeah, there was this little girl.
You gonna be like,
So I went at the dance. And I was like, girl, hi. Oh, first stop, but then show me. How you do? I'm sorry. How you do that? You know,
Who
it's
your mama
crazy.
is?
Like,
You know
who
what I'm saying?
is
Who
your
your mama
mom? I said, what
I have
TikTok video you watching?
I have talked to her, man. We might have a parent teacher
She was
conference.
like,
up in here.
yes. At first, I couldn't stop looking at her. I was like, oh, inappropriate. Stop. But then I was like, how you? We gonna talk later. I have to use that dance at the,
Hey,
But
Stacey
it's
had a
crazy.
comment on here, man. Stacey said, Steven's right. Record companies have a lot of influence. So rap is no longer community based. Yeah, it's no longer. It's the record companies. They putting out.
But you don't even need most of these people, I mean, music you hear, they're not even signed. Like,
yeah.
I mean, like you could come out with compared to back in the days, you had to go through a record label.
There's a lot
Nowadays,
of different ways to get to the product now.
Yeah, exactly though.
But if you want to become like super rich, then you're gonna have to get sometimes signed by a label and all of that shit. I mean, there's your exceptions to the rule, Master P. And,
but you
all of them. Dudes,
but you look at like what's his name?
Soulja
Hot Boy. No, he did the song Hot Boy.
Juvenile.
No,
they talk about BG.
No, the Bobby Shmurda.
Okay,
Bobby Shmurda.
Yeah,
he did that one song.
Yeah,
he picked the song, the beat off of YouTube, came out with the video, and he just blew up off of that. You don't even need a record label nowadays.
Hey, if you got a following, you don't need one. But like to his point, if you want to take it to another level,
right? If you want to become a mega star, you got to eventually.
Yeah, but if you got to get
because I don't know who Shmurda is. I thought you were talking about Smurfs.
Bobby Shmurda, you know what I'm saying?
No. Bobby Smurf.
Bobby Shmurda, yeah. But like
little Smurf ass. So Peter said, is it not true that the music industry is perpetually trying to outdo itself? Each artist is trying to be more dramatic and controversial than the previous one.
I agree.
Nowadays, yes.
I agree.
Nowadays,
like you said, it's like talent, just like who gets more likes. Who?
And you know where that started? It started with 50 Cent. When 50 Cent, he was the most controversial rapper we seen come in the game, and then he blew up off of that. And so now, like, controversy sells. Any publicity you get, saying that's not related to the music that you do, it's gonna make your music even more sellable.
Yeah, but even with 50 Cent, he got his head together and was like, let me, he was transferring into something else.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, like before 50 Cent, the controversy behind 50 Cent, though, I mean, he was making music. We didn't hear anything about him.
Yeah.
And then once that controversy hit, that's what it made him skyrocket, into the person he is today, though.
So I wonder, like, is rap, can we blame rap for some of the murder, the things that are happening in our communities? Can we blame rap on that or no?
That's a double-edged sword right there.
Well, research does show exposure to violence, incarceration, and involvement of the foster care system that increases the chance of mental illness and all kind of things. So I don't put blame on it, but is it influential? Yes. And we see it in society every day. We just had these conversations about it. Whether you're teaching your kid at home, again, I want to say we were very good parents, not too strict, but we had conversations, and your kids still sometimes turn out, doing things they have no business doing.
That is very true.
Even though their 2-parent home may be speaking something totally different. So I don't want to say that it's not influential, because it is. And it's research-based that shows that.
Yeah, we may be a victim of the times, but let's be real. People, especially in the Black community, people were killing people in the 60s and 70s listening to Marvin Gaye and the Isley Brothers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they were singing about love. You know what I'm saying? So I think we're a little affected because we're in the time. We're the hip-hop generation. We came up, so we're knee-deep in it. So I think if you remove rap, you still have the same conditions and the same thing. If rap never came along, we would still find reasons of killing each other. Now we now have a platform to talk about it, and put it out there and spread it. It might not have spread as fast or whatever, or became a little more common, but I don't think that the art, is what the problem is. It's just just the way we talk about it.
I think it's circumstantial. So yeah, I mean, if you remove rap, people still gonna kill each other.
Yeah.
Okay. But I will say that there were probably some cases where people died and the influence, not the blame, but they were influenced by rap.
Right.
Like, I know a dude when we was young, he bought a gun. Why? Because he heard all these songs, NWA shit, and he wanted to have a gun. Nigga, you don't need a gun. That nigga, who you fighting with?
Yeah.
Like, you don't need a gun. And having, to me, if you're irresponsible with your gun at a young age like that, guess what ended up happening?
You'll
Dude
get
ended up like killing himself, like
Mm.
by mistake, fucking
Yeah.
with a gun.
Mm.
We lived in an apartment. Me, Mike, asked Mike about this. Dude had a gun. Why? Because the nigga thought he was a thug. He wasn't no thug. Nigga, you hanging with me.
Mike?
I'm not a thug. Not Mike.
Oh, all right.
Somebody else.
I was like, okay.
Nigga shot through the room by mistake. Once again, shot through, went through my stereo, went through his clothes in his closet. He had a hole in every one of his damn clothes. Nigga, this shit came right through our room and hit the bed right above Mike's head.
Oh, wow.
Ask it.
Wow.
Now, nobody got hurt, but sometimes people do things in the influence of the music that make, oh man, I want to do this and I want to be that way.
And don't know.
And you
what
get a
the hell they
gun,
doing.
don't mean you're gonna hurt somebody. It don't mean you're gonna kill somebody. It don't mean you're gonna die. But it's coincidence or circumstantial that maybe some people get these guns or start acting a certain way
Mhm.
because of the music. And maybe they wouldn't have acted that way if it weren't for the music. I don't know. I don't like you said, I don't blame rap.
Yeah.
And if it was removed, people would still kill each other over the same shit, over drugs, over whatever.
Yeah.
But I do think that sometimes rap gets people involved in shit that they shouldn't be involved in because they want to try to live a life.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Lifestyle. And that's what women are attracted to. They'll be like, remember back in the day, everybody want a thug.
Yeah.
Why I want a thug for, now, as you get grown, you're
So
like,
you got to put money on his book.
right.
You don't want him
Yeah,
Yeah, for
exactly.
real.
They got money. They got a nice car. You know what I'm
This
saying?
ain't supposed to be working this way.
Yeah.
Hey, baby, this is a one-sided relationship.
Yeah,
Right? Money in your
right.
books, I get nothing out
That's
of it.
nothing,
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But most
Oh
people,
my
they
We already
did.
we know your damn problem. We ain't gonna bring your business on the streets like that. Nah.
Yes, you
Oh,
are
yeah, all the girls always want. I want a smart thug. Hey, dude, that dude only exists in Tyler Perry damn movies. That nigga's not real. I
That's
wanna-
true.
I want a smart thug
Yeah.
out there.
I be telling them, look for the nerd. Look at the boy that nobody's looking at. That's the one you better get.
I
He
want-
gonna grow
I
up.
want
and
to get his
fine.
degree in
Yeah,
prison. I want that dude. You know what I'm saying?
But back in the day,
What?
that's Just
Oh my
saying.
God. So
Yeah.
hopefully, I think we can get back to a point at some time, man. And I don't know if it's all about the money or like if somebody wants to get out there and do it on their own to make positive music, like rap music again.
I don't see it coming. And I mean, ever since like we spoke about, like, the MWAs, like ever since that era hit and it caught, I don't think it's going to change back.
Yeah.
I don't see it because I mean,
think things always change, but
they do though. But the thing is, people, I mean, these young folks they just don't want to hear it.
Dude, they can't even hear it. They don't even want to teach it no
I
more.
mean,
No,
let me put it like
that's
this,
true,
bro.
though.
Let me put it to you like this. In rap music, if you was gay, feminine, whatever you want to call it, back in the day, you better
Yeah.
stop that shit.
Right.
Nigga, you gotta be hard.
Right.
Now we got all kind of gay
Man.
LGBTQ rappers and
and
stuff
all
like
What's
that.
Yeah.
that?
So
bald-headed?
things change. That's my point. Like things will change, and there will be a time when I think things will come back to being, some type of conscience rap or education. I don't know when it's gonna be. It may be 50 years from now, but
I hope.
things change.
I
You know?
hope.
Yeah, the funny thing is, and you talk about NWA being influential and kind of bringing out gangster rap, but they talk about NWA, they really sell them more like they were socially conscious. Like, hey,
Yeah.
they were bringing awareness to the ghetto, and they
Yep.
were talking about the LA riots and all that.
Right.
So even to the point where, like, even with them, when they look back now at them, they make them look more socially conscious than really like a gangster rap. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Mhm.
so it's just funny how, you say that, like, as it goes on, and we look at right now, I think that a lot of these people that are talking about it now just have no purpose behind it other than be bragging and
Right.
talking about shit that they ain't about to do. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Compared to where NWA was kind of reporting on what was going on in LA,
Yeah.
and it turned into making them look social, 20,
Right.
30 years down the line.
What I think also is interesting is that I see all these kids, they all have on Tupac shirts and Biggie Smalls. I come home and tell you all the time, so where you get that Leo? You don't even know who she is. But they wear Biggie Smalls. Like, they're like, Miss, do you like so-and-so? It's like, boy, you weren't even born. Like you didn't even
Your
exist. Were your
parents.
parents born? You know what I mean? I'm like,
If they were, they was in elementary.
right?
For real, though,
But they
yeah.
were the Tupac. They were Biggie Smalls. I had a kid ask me, Miss, you know who Mobb Deep is? I said, what you know about Mobb Deep? So they like to talk, and these
all
are
my
middle
elders and
school.
my $100 billers. They don't know about that.
But they do know about that. But that's what I think is so intriguing is that they really like our music. And I can't even name a rapper right now. Like today, I don't know one. Like rapper, not talking about hip hop, but like rap, I don't even know.
That was the richness
I
in
don't
the
know.
music that came out in the 80s and the 90s, man. You know, it's just a vibe to it. So
Yeah.
of course they're gonna go back to it. It's kind of like we live in the genre, we listen to music. All of us, we jump back to the 70s.
Right.
Them cats was playing instruments and making music back then, which led to the hip hop movement.
Right.
Same with these kids. They go back and listen to music in the 80s and 90s. They can feel that music. So
That's true though.
yeah, so it's just what it is.
Yeah. So some of those groups, man, from back in the day, like you said, they're very influential. As a matter of fact, one of them, NWA, used a word that has been used like 100-something times on one of their albums.
It's in their name.
It's in their name, damn it. So, when they're not saying the acronym, they saying the word, the N word. So the N word, it's a racial slur. Let's just put it in the system. It is what it is. It's a racial slur. It's been used to denigrate and oppress Black people for centuries. And when used in the certain context, it can be one of the most offensive words that you could ever hear. It's hateful. It's dehumanizing and it's belittling the Black people. So let's just put that out there. We say it all the damn time, okay? We say it on this show. We say it as a term of endearment. I mean, is it okay to say the word? What are your thoughts, Ace?
Come on. I mean, I grew up. I mean, here's the deal. I mean, I grew up on Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor said nigga all the time. I mean, and shoot, I probably said about 4 times since I've been on this show today. You know what I'm saying? So I just, it's in my vocabulary. You know what I'm saying? So, and yeah, where does that come from, or can we say it? I'm a firm believer and a true believer. Yes. Why? Because I know when Black people are amongst Black people, that's how we talk. Now I'll be honest with you, certain people that I'm with that probably don't use the word, I probably don't speak to them that way, but if I'm with my homies, if I'm with people I grew up with, especially in the neighborhood, yeah, that's flying. That and a whole bunch of other derogatory words is coming out of my mouth. That's just the way we talk. You know what I'm saying? But that's different than when somebody's trying to aim it at you and use it to belittle you. You know what I'm saying? But even when then what do you think this is? 1955? Like, you're not
Yeah.
like, you're not killing me with that word, yo. Like, there's a lot of other words you can call me that's gonna really piss me off.
Right.
But like that one, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, like, you really can't say that, and you probably gonna have some repercussions behind it. But really, like, you got to get more colorful.
So
than
let
that.
me ask you,
What
this,
I'm saying?
man.
Like,
Let me just ask you this: some white dude at HEB getting his goddamn cantaloupe. You bump into him, he says, "Nigger."
Oh yeah, that's a problem.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
But what I'm saying is,
like, that word don't hurt.
No. But that's a problem. But what I say, it don't hurt. But I'm saying, but it's like, you still throwing that around, bro? For real? Like, what are you trying to do? You know what I'm saying? To be honest with you, like we utilize that all the time. But like you say, there's a difference when it's said. You know what I'm saying? So, can I say it? Yeah, I'm gonna say it all day long. And it's
so why?
Because, like I said, once again, I think it's just so ingrained in the culture. I mean, I grew up on it. You know what I'm saying? I grew up on it. When I was coming up in school or whatever, we
I'm gonna play devil advocate all day with this. I'm
yeah. You can hit me upside the head with it all day long. Now I call you nigga. What you talking about?
Hey, I'm gonna say this though, like, once again, devil's advocate, man. I mean, just because we did something, we came up doing something, don't mean we continue to do it. Like, I mean, that's not an excuse for us to continue to use the word.
But I'm just trying to be realistic that, when you get in certain scenarios and you talking, that word's flying. That's just what it is.
But I say it all the time. I do. Yeah. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, I know you are.
I'm running a show, brother.
I mean, and a lot of times we use it unconsciously, though. Like, it's just a word it's within our vocabulary. Just unconsciously say it, And then now it's taking.
So what if
more,
a white person said that?
And so the thing is though, like so
This is my
nowadays,
vocabulary.
though,
I know that word.
so like nowadays though, because I remember
I know where you're going with this.
when I moved away from Texas back in '98. I was hearing white people like they was being around black people, you know what I'm saying?
Like
What's up, my
nothing.
nigga? You know what I'm saying? Like nothing. Like I'm looking like what?
Yeah.
And then I moved back here.
Talking about the cool white people.
Well, yeah, but
ones that they giving the
but the thing
they
is,
giving a pass
it's
on.
so many. It's
Wow.
not even that though. It's like it's so many. They don't like. I see Hispanics. They don't even hang with black people.
Yeah.
Say
they
it all
calling
the
each
time.
other. They calling each other nigga.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the first time when I can move back, I heard it. I was like, oh, this is what we doing now.
Yeah, that's the influence of the music though.
But like you, RJ, he grew up. He's been around black
Around
folks
us forever.
forever. He
Mhm.
has not once.
I ain't
said
never heard
nigga.
him say it.
I have never heard him say nigga. And that's all he hang with black people.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, that's some people that think they get they. Yeah.
It wasn't.
It wasn't us. He just never said it.
It was just out of respect. It was out
Yeah.
of respect, you
Yeah.
know. Like, and then so like now, I mean, we use it so much now. They just think it's okay to use it,
Mhm.
and then their first line of defense is, "Well, y'all use it."
Mhm.
But then here's the other problem. We can't get mad when we hear somebody else say it when we saying it all the time. Like, especially if they're using it in the same context that we are. Not that they're pointing at us.
Yeah.
They just using it in a loving way to one another. Like,
But
"Oh,
I
that's
don't
my
agree
nigga
with
right
that
there."
though. I don't
I'm
agree
just
with that
telling
though.
you,
Like, it's because
Okay, if a Mexican dude talk to a Mexican dude and he's like, "Ah, that's my nigga," and you get mad. Well, that's the way you use it. I'm using it the same, and I'm not even saying it to a black person.
right.
I'm
Yeah.
saying it to another dude who I love, who I appreciate. Just like when you say it to him, you're
That's
not
true.
meaning it negative to him.
That's true.
So why do we have the right to just say that? That's my word, nigga.
I think that word is traumatic to black people. So black people feel as in the community that is their word. I'm just saying, like,
It is. Yeah.
I'm just saying, first of all, I don't use it a lot because
You sure
in
don't.
my education, I don't want my
she
kids.
mad at me.
What?
This nigga.
First
She
of
hit you with
all-
this nigga.
You ate my goddamn taquitos.
This nigga don't turn off the light in the restroom.
Dear viewers,
Like,
they
nigga,
are
you left the
telling
damn toilet seat
stories.
up.
Oh.
Y'all are telling stories about me, but that's why I had to explain to them because you don't want somebody using it at a different context, and now you mad. You know, but you using it as a term of endearment to your partner over here, and then so and so you got a little white friend who thinks, oh well, we friends, and I think you my nigga too, and then now you ready to beat the little boy up because he doesn't look like you.
Right.
And it's hard to explain that to children. So in order to do that, is say just don't use the word. You don't like it when somebody uses it towards you, so just don't use it. But I do understand in the community as far as it's been embraced as a term of endearment for us. So if you don't look like us or you are not us, then that doesn't apply to you.
Right.
And people don't understand that. And then I watched that video last night where there's a black lady talking about this same topic. And she said, I've never been fat. And I've never been fat, right? I've been small my whole life. Anybody's known me, I've gotten a little bit bigger, not very much. So I don't talk about fat people in a negative light. I don't use certain terminology that deals with heavy set people because I can't relate to that. So it's kind of like the same thing. Like you are not going to be black. You can't be black. You aren't black. You don't know my experiences. So you don't get to use that term
Right.
in that facet. We know where it came from. So that is our word. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
So
when
where
people
did
saying
it come
that.
from? Where did the word
So
come
basically,
from?
it was, where am I going to get that? Highly offensive. Talked about the transatlantic slave trade is where it came. So you're looking at years and years of oppression.
Well,
And then it's evolved. And now we took it back. Said you can't
right.
hurt us with it. But you are still hurting us with it when
Right.
you have a different, the ER versus the A kind of thing.
So, and I don't know if this is totally true, but the word niggas, Negus,
Mhm.
is an Ethiopian word for
Yes.
king.
Mm. Okay. That would be good.
That's a
And
derivative
so,
of
yes.
nigga. Mhm.
And over the years, after slave trades and everything else, they changed that word from us calling ourselves king to making a derogatory word towards
Hmm.
us.
Interesting. I've
You know.
heard different. Like,
And-
and neither
There's a
one of us
couple.
was there, so I don't.
and well,
I don't
and
know what's right or
also
wrong.
the Latin term "nigger" is,
Yeah.
you know, I mean,
Yep.
Niger.
Exactly.
You
That's what I
know,
heard.
But I mean, but you got to think about this also. Like, you know, a lot of, I mean, Latins are part African.
Yeah.
You
But a
know,
lot of the terms and words that we use today come from Latin. That's
Yeah.
the base.
Mhm.
That's the root of almost
Right.
all language, you know, that we use today, or all Western language.
yeah.
well, it was, yeah,
So, you know, it is what it is, man. I mean, I feel like the word came from a place of hate.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, and to me, yes, to your point, I've been using this since day one, and I don't know why or how or when. I just started using it as a way of this my nigga.
One of your damn
Right.
uncles.
You know, somebody
Somebody
gave me a
called you a
beer when
nigga
I was
when you
like
was
5 years
"Come here,
old.
nigga."
Exactly. Somebody gave me a beer when I was 5 years old at the family reunion and said, "Hey, little nigga, get over here, bro. Drink this."
Yeah.
And then nigga just became a word that I used to a loving family member or somebody. But at the end of the day, it comes from a place of hate, man. And when we get mad at people for using it, it's because we get mad because of where it came from, not because of how they using it.
Mhm.
Because sometimes they're not using it in a hateful way. Like I said, they be
Yeah.
using it in a loving way, but we know where the word came from. We know where its roots are embedded, and it's in hate. And it was created to make us feel bad, to say things about us in a derogatory way.
Right.
So I can see why a lot of people are like, don't use that word. Just take it out of your whole vocabulary. Why use it? Do you not have the mental capacity to find a word different than nigga
Mhm.
in your Rolodex in your brain that you can use? Why do you have to use it? Is it like something that I have to say it? It's like crack, nigga. I have to say nigga.
Stupid.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Real,
was, you know, it was used in white supremacy, and when it's used like in a way to where, and most likely you said somebody bumps into you because of cantaloupe and somebody uses it, he's basically said, "I'm better than you."
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Dehumanize.
that's why he's using. I can use this word nigga and I can put you in your place, and that's what it was used for centuries.
Yep.
You know, we kind of took it back not to do that, but that's where the difference comes in, and that's why it's a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Here's my problem with that. We took it back. We say we took it back. We ain't took. They still use it.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
We didn't, taking it back is mean that they don't use it and they can't use it. That's
Right.
what that to me is taking it back. We've embraced it,
That's
and
embrace
embrace
is a better word.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
We're trying to use it in a positive light and spin it. But these motherfuckers are still saying it about us.
They,
Oh, yeah.
they are.
And
and
still
they-
make
they-
you mad if they say it to you.
They know that's the one trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one trigger. And like he was saying earlier, though, like,
Trigger, yeah.
okay,
Mhm.
use something else. Like, I mean, we use that, you know what I'm saying, with ourselves. I mean, within ourselves, and like use something different.
Yeah. Why are we
know?
giving them an excuse?
To
Like,
use- right.
you say it,
Right.
we giving them an excuse.
We
We don't want you, but you can't stop it.
right. Right. Right.
You know, it seems like we giving them a way out to say, well, if you say it, you say it. I was saying it like you said.
I try not to use it. Sometimes it just comes out,
I don't.
you know.
You don't always.
I'm just like I said. I see all my own faults in what I'm saying.
Right.
Okay, don't get
Yeah.
it twisted. I'm not saying. I'm not trying to stand up here and say like I'm this guy who don't say nigga because I say it.
Yeah.
I see all my own
Well,
faults in my argument. At the end of the day, I'm just being real.
Right.
You know.
And I think.
Y'all know who my mama is, so
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, my
I don't say it
mama,
around
your mama.
her.
man,
Yep,
yeah,
she
you know,
does.
so
And if I
like-
do, it was a mistake.
right. It just it unconsciously comes out, and a lot of times when I'm around her, it does, and she'll look at me. I'm like, oh man,
Yeah.
damn it.
But you got to understand that they lived in a different time period.
yeah, they
Our
did.
parents, like my mom's, well, I better not tell her age. Anyway, she's older, right? So she's born in the 40s. They had those experiences. They had to
Right.
go through the back door. They
Right.
was called niggas.
Right.
They was
Segregation was up
segregated.
front. It was
So-
Right.
I think if we had those different experiences, I think that term we may look at it differently. Because it's like I was called a nigga. Like
Yeah.
I was thrown. I had to go use the
That is
water
a-
fountains. And I
yeah.
think for them, it does trigger them because they're like,
Yeah.
why
Oh,
would
yeah.
you say such a word that was so hurtful and hateful to us?
Right.
So they don't understand that. And again, experiences, I think, create
the change of times.
the
yeah,
change of
the
times.
change
You
of
know, so
times,
for
yeah.
us, we're like, we didn't experience that. You know, well, we did. I mean, I did when I went to
I did.
school.
I did as well.
You know,
yeah.
like we
We all did.
right. You know, we've had
Yeah.
some, I don't think like their type of experience, but we had our own
I remember I was
complex.
in when I first moved to Cincinnati area, and I was in Northern Kentucky, where my mom stayed. I worked across the street, and I was walking across the street. I remember, and the dude out the truck like, "Nigga, you're in the wrong side of town." And I just looked at him, and I was like, "Oh, whatever, man." Like, I mean, 'cause it could go either one or two ways.
Right.
Mhm.
But
It could go
he's
either
driving
one.
in the car. See,
He's driving
that's
in the car
thing.
though.
He
Yeah,
knew.
they'll do that a lot.
Yeah, they like to do that. Like,
yeah.
we
Yeah.
driving
Oh,
down the street
yeah.
one
I
time,
was
dude. We
so-
were gonna just turn in the turning lane or whatever. This white dude all mad, just
I was
yelling.
like-
I'm like, but you driving that way, and I'm
Right.
going this way.
So,
of course
okay.
you're gonna say that.
Oh yeah, most
Okay.
definitely. Most definitely.
But I just don't understand why is that the first term that comes to
Their program.
They're raised like that.
like
The
that's
program,
crazy
yeah,
to
the
me.
program
Like I
like
don't.
that.
I mean, like Cracker. I don't even think I've ever said anything
Well,
like
that's the
that.
problem.
I don't
That's
think I've ever said that. Like that does not come to my mind when I'm mad at you.
I didn't say
You
hunky.
know,
I didn't came out and say this could cause them.
I don't
few
think
of
I
them
ever
hunky.
have.
Yeah, I mean, but
I don't-
that's the problem with
I
like
don't
white
think I ever
supremacy, though.
had.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's taught at home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you said, there's no curriculum in school that says, hey, you know what, we're gonna teach you how to say
that.
the word nigga and teach you to think that you're better than black people or better than any people. We put it that way, but that's taught at home. So then you say, as soon as something happens, that's the first thing that comes out because they were taught
Yeah.
that, like, hey, this is
You're
where
right.
they
It
are, and
has
this is
to
who
be
you
taught.
are, and
Right?
this
Because
is
I've never.
what you can say, and you should be able to say, and you should be able to do. That's the problem with
Mhm.
society and white supremacy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why in 2023, we still talking about what people talked about in 1963,
Which is a
1933,
Mhm.
Yeah.
1903,
I will say this though.
1883.
I will say this though. Not all white people are the same.
No, hell no.
All black people are the same.
Yeah, not all black people are the same either though. But
Mm-mm.
I've ran across.
Oh, yeah.
I've had some white friends, and I met their parents. They're just cool as hell though. Like,
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
we're not generalizing.
Yeah.
that.
No, not at all.
Because we know all skin folk ain't your kin folk.
Folk.
No,
you know,
it's
that
not.
That's
either.
true.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's a couple of them that about to, if they don't cut these deals, they're gonna go to jail for Trump. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And it's crazy. Like growing up in Texas, though, I had
It's
more.
different.
I had more Mexican racism towards me
I said the same thing.
than white people though.
Me too.
Growing up here though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Hispanic people in this state feel like they are closer to
Not all, but some.
Yeah,
white
no,
than black,
Yes.
and they
I had.
It ain't no
feel like
race.
they're gonna get like embraced by them for some strange reason.
They don't
and
like
it
you
is what
either.
it is.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
right.
They don't like them either.
You're right.
Like,
Yeah.
look, and I always tell people, say when they said sit back in the back of the bus, they didn't have no middle section, bro. You was
Right.
back there with us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We all
Well,
together.
Right.
It was all together. It said
Mhm.
whites only. It didn't say whites.
had them
Maybe
fountains.
Hispanics and
When they had them
maybe
fountains,
Asians. Oh yeah,
You wasn't drinking out the white
you
one.
wasn't drinking out the white
Mhm.
ones, bro. You know what I'm saying? So
But some of them don't. Again, that's why it's so important to teach historical perspective because I think some of them don't know that.
And you know,
I really do. I think they
um,
really are just ignorant and not aware.
I think is it in Florida where what's his name DeSantos or
DeSantis.
DeSantis he
Mhm.
they
That
don't
dude.
they
You
don't teach
missed our
black
show.
Right.
You missed
Black
our
history.
show. Yep.
Right.
in the schools. I mean, they're trying to erase a lot of our history,
Mm-hmm.
and it's sad because hell, it's gonna get to the point where on the word nigga, it's gonna be used as just another word.
Yeah. I think it is now.
I mean, it is though to a point, and
Yeah.
but we have people like us, who who speak on it. But these kids who are after us, the generation after our generation that's coming up now, after them, it's gonna be so bad. Where it's like, you're not gonna be able to control it all the way.
You bring up a great point, man. We kind of talked about like the connection between all of these topics, like in music and the N-word.
Yeah,
I think that's another reason why a lot of these kids think it's okay to just say it.
it
It's
is.
like
Yeah,
Mhm.
I hear it every day in these songs.
right.
I mean, why are you telling me not to say it? I
Right.
hear it all the time. Every song that my mom lets me buy this stuff.
Right.
My dad lets me listen to it. Yada yada yada. Everybody's saying it. I'm singing the song. When I sing it, it's okay.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
You know what I'm
it's not.
saying?
You
But I
seen that
can't
movie.
say it any other time. Or
And I don't learn
whatever.
no history about it now.
No,
so-
No, they don't.
Yeah,
But that's his point. Is like,
Yeah, they
you know,
don't-
basically it's just a word. It's
Right.
just become a regular ass word.
it's gonna be
And
that.
it's become just that. Like because of things like the music, these conversations that we having, movies Movies too.
Yeah.
Look at all these movies. How many times they saying this shit? I mean, it has been normalized.
Yeah.
Right.
And that is why people question what's wrong with me saying it.
Right.
It's I hear it every fucking day in my shows, in my movies, in my songs. But now you telling me I can't say it?
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if y'all looked at Bel Air. That came out.
I wanted to. I never watched it.
Yeah, but that was and it's just a play off of Fresh Prince of
Oh yeah.
Bel-Air,
Oh, you talking about the new one? Yeah.
But the new drama, and that was one of the plays they had on it, was that Carlton, since he was like grew up in the rich country club part, he's like in with his team. No, he's not even the thug. He's with the team, and he's singing, and a whole bunch of white boys, and they singing this song, and they using the word nigga, and then like Will walks in and it's like, you just let them say nigga like that, and he starts getting into it with them like that, and that's part of the problem. Like they like, hey, why shouldn't I be able to say it? It's just normal now to sing the song, but it just killed him because they were, Collins over there dancing with him and singing along with him. I think they were singing Bobby Shmurda, to be honest with you, and
I think I remember that episode.
Yeah,
they were in the locker room. Yeah,
in the locker room, and Will kind of walked in and started checking people. So like, it's just, and that's like thinking about it from the newer generation.
And people probably looked at Will like, what's wrong with you?
Exactly.
But they was probably looking at him like, hey,
also
bro, we
the
just
thing
singing
is
the
though,
song, bro, what's wrong?
Now also those like
controversy with J-Lo and the little Murder Inc. boy when she said nigga in her song.
Ja Rule.
Ja Rule, yeah.
Oh, J-Lo said the word too.
Yeah, and
she Puerto Rican?
It's a duet song.
But is it our duty though to stop
patrol it?
Yeah, patrol
the
it,
nigga
stop
police.
it. You know what I'm saying? Like nigga police.
We the nigga police.
I mean, to check a person, you know what I'm saying? When they, I don't know if that would work, but I mean, I've checked a couple people. I mean,
Look,
for saying it.
Let me tell you something. Your mama trying to get us one nigga at a time. Okay. And she doing her part. I'll put it to you that way. I don't know how much of a difference that makes though.
Yeah.
Unless we all were doing it.
Right.
And even if we are, we can't stop movies and TV shows and music from doing it. And that's, I think, the main problem is that it's everywhere around you. It's permeating. The word permeates the air. It's everywhere. It's not just us saying it.
Well, I will tell you in education, you get in trouble. And no matter who's saying it, you are not to say it. And that's Black, white, Hispanic, biracial. You're not allowed to use that word. It's considered to be derogatory and you'll be in trouble, So school systems are even, so that's why it's kind of contradictory. Because like you said, you hear it in songs, you hear it in music, and then you go to school and you're like, better not.
Right.
You better, they'll say N-word. They'll say, they won't even write the word. They'll say, I can't say it. Like, so they, so some people are aware that it's not appropriate, or at least in certain venues. You know what I mean? Like maybe when you're with your friends, ain't nobody gonna say nothing to you, or if you're over here. But in this, area, you're not allowed to say it. So I don't know.
I don't say it much around my son, and I guess I know it's gonna come a point in time where he's gonna be around friends and he's gonna learn the word. I mean,
you
use
figure it out.
But within my home, he doesn't use it.
Right.
And he doesn't hear me use it.
Right.
I mean, I might slip up every now and then, but
you try your best not to.
I try not to say it around him. So I mean,
yeah, I mean,
I was a bad father. I mean,
like, sorry.
I think I call my sons and be like, "Yeah, what up, nigga?" I missed that one right there.
It's okay.
When they saying it, they getting it honest. They heard it right out of my mouth. I can't blame the mama on that one.
Sorry.
Hey, all I can say, man, is like using the N-word. I know that we use it in a loving way in the community of friends that I have. Right, we use it amongst each other. We know not to use it at work. We know not to use it in certain when a certain audience is around, because we don't want them feeling it's okay to use the word too. Right, but at the end of the day, it's hard for me to say other people shouldn't use it when it's being used all around them every day. Now, that's my thing. I'm going to use it because I love using it as a term of endearment towards my friends. But if I hear somebody else use it the same way towards their friend, will I get up in and say, hey, man, don't use that word? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that. If
Don't-
it's yes or no, I probably wouldn't like it. I'm not gonna like seeing it come out of that person's mouth, hearing it, you know. But at the same time, I'm like,
The only time I got upset is
understand.
when the only time I got upset is when they address me.
right?
When-
When they're pointing it at me in a negative way, it's over.
Well, not even a negative way. Like they. I remember when I was
Oh,
in
like a
Northern
friend?
Kentucky, they was like,
Or even trying to be friendly to me.
yeah,
You ain't-
like they was like,
yeah.
what's up, my nigga? I'm like, nah,
nah,
bro.
yeah, see, I wouldn't like that
nah.
neither.
Like that.
Nah.
I wouldn't like that
Yeah,
neither.
Like, nah, bro.
Nah, I wouldn't like that neither.
Yeah, you can hit me with the greet.
Yeah, that's like trying to use it on the fly. Got one in.
Yeah,
one
exactly.
in.
Yeah, like,
You can't greet me like that.
no, yeah, you can't say what's up, my nigga. You
Yeah,
a
like,
white boy. Like, nah, bro.
Guess what I called Dewan yesterday?
Yeah, you know, nah.
That's
You're so stupid. I am so
Yeah.
stupid.
Like, I ain't making your day, motherfucker.
yeah, they let off the gate. Nigga.
Yeah,
for
you
real.
know what I'm
So
saying?
it's
You ain't
hard-
gonna get
it's
no joy
hard,
off
like,
of me.
I think it's about context. Maybe if they using it with their friends and shit, and they both whatever, I might not say anything. It's hard, man. It's hard. It's
Yeah, that's
It's
a
really
tough
hard.
one, man. That's a tough one.
Yeah, it is.
I can go far enough to say that you probably ain't my close friend if I ain't called you a nigga a few times. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, for real.
Like you ain't in my circle. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
like,
exactly.
And like
You're
we
right.
was talking about RJ. I used to be around RJ all the time, and I would always call him, hey, my nigga.
I would
Say,
call him that too.
yeah.
He would never.
He would never say it back though, but like he was just like, I mean, but RJ is just different.
Yeah.
Like
But
he,
that could have been out of respect, though. He might
It was.
feel
No, it was out of
I'm
respect, though.
Definitely.
Right. Like,
yeah, RJ. He,
like
I
I'm
mean,
your boy, but I know that I
Yeah.
don't have the same.
you can't cross that line.
You know what? I heard this one
Respectful.
time, especially when it comes to Hispanics. Hispanics use a word, they go way when they
Wait,
when they-
yeah.
And I just wouldn't do say that to a Hispanic guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's not
Right.
that's their word. That ain't my word.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know if it's derogatory or not.
No,
but
it's not.
When
though.
you
It's
start
just-
hearing "way" in songs and TV shows, then you'll start using that motherfucker.
Nah.
What's up, my way? All right, so you know what? This is a great conversation, man. I think that at the end of the day, we're not gonna solve it or nothing like that, but I think that we have put a lot of good context around the usage of the word, why we use it, maybe help some people out there understand a little bit more about it, why we use it, and why maybe they shouldn't use it. But at the end of the day, I mean, the word is here. It's a word. It ain't going nowhere, right? So once again, I want to just close up shop here. I want to thank everybody out there on the live stream. We got Stacy, Steven, Peter. We got, I don't know if I missed anybody out there, Tina, but we got a lot of people out there joining us for the live streams on Facebook and YouTube. So thank you guys for joining us. All of our listeners out there on
Oh shit, my bad.
Thank you guys.
My bad.
Rookie mistake, bro.
Just kidding.
To fuck up the whole podcast. So
My
all
bad.
the people out there on Amazon, Apple,
No, you didn't.
Spotify, Google, thank y'all for joining us for the podcast. And I will once again want to thank our special guest, Dewan Coley, for being here in the building. Thank
Yeah,
you, Dewan,
man.
for sharing
Good.
with us, man.
Mr.
Good
X
mental,
seven.
the mental health topic, man. Good topic.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Definitely.
most definitely.
I want to always thank my queen for allowing me to do all of these things that we do here. Thank you, baby. My main man, Ace, my nickel.
Yeah. That's what.
And
There he is.
they came back. And my girl over here, Tina, the queen, for always holding it down, making sure I get all these damn comments, and all of y'all people on Facebook and YouTube brought into the discussion as well, making sure that I keep my timer on and know how long we doing this thing. Okay. So thank you guys once again for joining us for the live stream, and we will see you next week.